Hi, and welcome back to 3.5 Dividing Decimals Fluently from Course 1A Singapore Math. So, as the topic suggests, we need to be fluent at it, right? So, let's get started with the independent practice because I'm sure you have watched the content video for this and your concepts are clear. So, let's begin. In the concept video, you must have come across various methods to solve this division. We will employ different methods for different questions so you get enough practice for all of them. And the ones that I'm using, you can use the other ones to practice more. So let's get started now. 4 divided by zero point 0.5. So we write 4 divided by zero point 0.5 can be written as 5 upon 10, right? It's 0.5. How many decimal places? Just one. So we have only one zero here. Then we say 4 times the division becomes multiplication and the fraction reverses. That's numerator becoming denominator and denominator becoming numerator. Then we have 4 times 10, which is 40 upon 5. That is 8, right? 40 divided by 5 is 8. The next one here, 5 divided by zero point 0.2. So it's 0.2. How many decimal places? Just one. So we say 2 upon 10. That's 5 times. We change division to multiplication and also the fraction inverses. So that's 5 times 10 is 50 upon 2, which is 25. Next, 7 divided by zero point 0.4. So that's going to be 4 upon 10. So we say 7. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse the fraction. So 7 times 10 is 70 divided by 4, which is equal to, let's do the division here, 70 divided by 4. 4 goes once, that's 4. 3 is the remainder. We have 0 down here. Then 4 times 7 is 28. Then 2 comes down and we have nothing more. So we put 0 here and a decimal there. 4 times 5 is 20 and that's 0. So we end. So the answer is 17.5, right? Let's go to the next ones. Well, I suggest that you pause the video, solve some of them, and come back to check our answers. So we write 42 divided by just one decimal place. So we say 7 upon 10. Then we say 42. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. So that's 10 upon 7. Now we know 7 goes in 42, right? So 7 times 1 and 7 times 6. So the answer here is 6 times 10. That is 60. Next, 86 divided by zero point 0.5. Just one decimal place. So that's 5 upon 10. So 86 division becomes multiplication and inverse the fraction. That's 10 upon 5. And we know that 5 times 1, 5 times 2, right? So that's 86 times 2. Let's do the calculations here. 86 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 1 carry. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. So the answer is 1,272. Because here you're dividing by half, and dividing by half is as good as multiplying by 2. Next, 93 divided by just one decimal place. So we say 4 upon 10. So that's 93 times 10 upon 4. So we say 93 times 10 because 4 will not go directly in 93. So that's 930 divided by 4. So let's do the division here. 930 divided by 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 remainder, we take 3 down. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 remainder, we take 0 down. So 4 times 2 is 8. 2 remainder, nothing more to take down. So we'll put 0 there and a decimal there. And we know 4 times 5 is 20. So the answer to this is 232.5. right? If you didn't want to do this 930 by 4, you could also do this one here. You could do 93 divided by 4. You would still get the same answer. So that's twice 8, 1, 3. That's thrice 12, 1, 0. That's decimal there, right? So that's twice is 8, 2, 0. That's 5, right? And then you have to multiply this number with 10 times 10 because you have this 10 here, right? And you would still get this answer. Ready for the next? Always, right? Okay, next, here we have questions the division with numbers that has two decimal places. Does that change anything? Yes, it does. The only change is instead of writing divide by 10, we'll be writing divide by 100 because it's two decimal places. So you need to have two zeros. So let's solve this once now. So that's 1 divided by two decimal places. So we'll write 2 and 100 upon that because of two decimal places. So that's 1 times, right? Division becomes multiplication, and that's 100 upon 2. And 100 upon 2 is 50. Simple. So it's the same process, right? Next is 8 divided by 0.32. So we write 8 divided by 32, that's 32 upon two decimal places. So we say 100. Then we say 8 times 100 upon 32. We know 8 goes in 32, right? So 8 times 1 and 8 times 4. And this 4 goes in 4 times 1 and 4 times 25. So the answer to this question is 25. So when you do this calculation here, all this, it's much easier than to actually do 8 times 100 and then divide by 32. So dividing, taking out common factors here in this step is very useful. Next we have 9 divided by, we write 72 upon two decimal places. So it's 100. Then we say 9 times 100 upon 72. Again, common factors. 9 times 1, 9 times 8, right? Then we say 4 times 2 and 4 times 25. So we have 25 upon 2. It's easy to divide, right? Because we know 2 times 12 is 24, right? So that's 12.5. You can confirm it here. 25 divided by 2, that's once, that's 0, then 5, that's twice, so that's 4. One remainder, we put 0, so that's 0.5, right? Let's go to the next ones now. Okay, again we have two decimal places here, and at the same time these numbers have become two digits, right? So again, process does not change. So we write 36 divided by 36 upon two places. So we write 100. So that's 36 times 100 upon 36, right? We inverse the fraction. So 36 and 36 are out. So that's ones and ones, right? What are we left with? Only 100, and that's the answer. The next one, we write 56 divided by 28 upon two decimal places. So it's 100. 56 division becomes multiplication, inverse the fraction, and we write it here. And 28 times 1, 28 times 2, right? So that's 2 times 100, which is 200. Well, if you didn't know 28 times 2 is 56, you could do it the other way. I'll show it here. 56 times 100 upon 28. We know that 7 times 4, and that's 7 times 8, right? And again, we know that 4 times 1 and 4 times 2. So that's exactly 2 times 100. So that's 200. Next, 81 divided by 54 upon two decimal places. So it's 100. We write 81 times, reverse the fraction. So that's 100 upon 54. Now 81 and 54 has common factors, right? In which times tables do you have both of these numbers? It's in the times table for 9. So 9 times 6, and this is 9 times 9. And we know that still 9 and 6 have common factors, right? So that's 3 times 2, and that's 3 times 3. And further, this is 2 and that's 100. It's divisible, right? So 2 times 1 and 2 times 50. So the answer is 3 times 50, which is 150. Knowing the common factors, knowing my times tables helps me carry out this process much easier and faster, and of course with accuracy. Next, here we have 749 divided by zero point 0.7. Now here, if you notice, these numbers are becoming bigger. It's 749 now. It's 3 digits, right? But that does not change the process, the way we solve it. So we say 749 divided by 7 upon how many decimal places? Just 1. So we write 10. So that's 749 times 10 upon 7. Now I know that 749 is divisible by 7, and I'll show it here. 749 divided by 7, because the 7, right? So 7 goes in 7, and then you have 49. So 49 is a multiple of 7. So 7 times 1 is 7. That's 0. We take 4 down. It does not go, so we write 0 there, and we take 9. And we know 7 times 7 is 49. So this here, we cancel the common factors, 7 times 1 and 7 times 107. So the final answer will be 107, and this 0. Multiplying with 10 is adding extra 0, right? So 1070 is the answer to this question. Now from this question onwards, from 14 onwards, we'll be using the other method that you have in the book. So up till 13, I've used one method, and I suggest that you solve all of these questions using the other method as well. So you get good practice of both the methods. So we write 972 divided by zero point 0.8, right? So this is how we would write it. So this becomes 9720 and 8, right? Because we do times 10 and times 10, right? Because we want this 8. We don't want decimal numbers there. So to make it 8, we have to multiply with 10. And if I do that in my denominator, I have to do it in the numerator as well. So now we just divide this 9720 divided by 8. So that's once 8, 1, 7, that's twice 16, 1, 2, 8 times 1 is 8, so that's 4, and the last 0 here. So that's 5, right? So that's 40, and answer here is 0. So the final answer is 1215 for this, right? Next, again, we continue now this method, and I suggest solving these questions from 14 onwards with the method that we have done up until now. That's question 13. That's 545 divided by 0.25, right? So we write this as 545. How many decimal places? 2. So we are going to add 2 zeros there, and this becomes 25, because 2 decimal places means times 100, and also here times 100, right? Now we can do this division here. 54500 divided by 25. So 25 goes in 54. How many times? Twice. That's 50. Then we have 4, and that's 5 there. So it goes once, that's 25. So we have 20 left here, and we take this 0 down now. So 25 goes 8 times in 200, right? So that's 0, and the final 0 we take down. And don't say, okay, does not go in 0 and you leave it. No, you have to work with that 0 in the sense that it does not go, so you're going to add 0 there. So the answer is 2180, 2180. So we shall continue using this method now. 0.6 upon 0.3, right? Now here, both numerator and denominator are decimal and both have one decimal place. So that's 6 upon 3 because we do times 10 and times 10. And 6 upon 3 is 2. Next, 0.9 divided by 0.4. So that's 9 upon 4 because we are doing times 10 and times 10. So 9 divided by 4. Let's do it here. 9 divided by 4. That's twice is 8. 1 remainder. We have nothing there, so we put 0 and a decimal there. 4 times 2 is 8. So that's 2. We will put one more 0 here, and 4 times 5 is 20. So the answer is 2.25. Next, we have 0.64 and 0.04. Both the numbers have two decimal places. So we will say 64 upon 4 because we are doing times 100 and times 100, right? And 64 divided by 4 is 16. Times tables, very important to learn. So the next number is 0.81 divided by 0.06. Again, two decimal places. So we say 81 upon 6 because we are multiplying both of them with 100. Right? Let's take the common factors out. So 3 goes twice and 3 goes 27 times. 27 divided by 2 is 13.5, right? Because 13 times 2 is 26 and you have 1 left. So it's 0.5, right? 1 divided by 2. Or you can do 81 divided by 6 here directly. So that's ones, 6. Then you have 2 and 1 down. So that's thrice. 6 times 3 is 18. You have 3 left. You put 0 and the decimal here. 6 times 5 is 30. So that's 13.5. Next we have 0.85 upon 0.5. Now you have two decimal places in the numerator and just one in the denominator. So we will say times 100 here. So we of course do times 100 here, right? So this becomes 85. Now be careful with the denominator. There is only one decimal place, so we needed 10, but we have 100. So we will write this as 50. Okay? So that's very important that you be careful with that. Now in both of them, the common factor is 5 because it ends with 5 and 0, right? So that's 5 times 10 and that's 5 times 17 times tables. So basically that's 17 upon 10 and that's easy division, right? So that's 1.7 because we have 1 0 here. So we go from right to left and put a decimal point there. Next one, 0.025 upon zero point 0.5. Look at the decimal places now. So we have 3 in the numerator. So we say times 1000. Same thing we do in the denominator. So now our numbers are 25 upon. What's upon? Will it be 5? Will it be 50? No, it's going to be 500 because it's one decimal place. So we needed this 1 0 only. But we have these 2 zeros here. So we put those 2 zeros here. Okay? And 25 goes in 500 by 20. So the answer is 1 upon 20. So here you can check 500 divided by 25. I'm doing the reverse process, right? I'm not doing 25 upon 500 because I can get this fraction here. So 25 goes twice, that's 50, that's 0, and this other 0 comes down. So we put 0 there, right? So that's 20. Now 1 divided by 20 is how much? It's 0.05. So these are some smart math tricks that you need to know because 1 upon 2 is 0.5. So now I'm doing 1 upon 20. So it's basically dividing further by 10, right? So if I have to divide this further by 10, It will be 0.05. Understand that. Let me show it again here. So 1 upon 20. How do I write it? 1 upon 2, and that's 10 there, right? So that's 22 times 10. Now I know that this part is zero point 0.5, right? And I still have this part that's upon 10. So that's 0.05. Okay? So that's how I do smart math and faster. Okay, next one here. So it's 0.816 upon 0.34. So we do times 1000, right? Because we have 3 decimal places, so times 1000 again here. So this will be 816 upon 34, or how much? It's going to be 340, right? Because we need here 2 zeros. So that's 2 zeros. That's extra one. So we put that extra one here. Okay. So it's 816 upon 340. So we do the division here. 816 divided by 340. 340 times 2 is 680. So that 6 comes down. 81 minus 68 is 13. And we put additional 0 here because we have nothing more there, right? And we put decimal there. So let's try 340, 34. It's 30, like closer to 30 if we take that. So 3 times 4 is 12, right? So that's 13. So let's try with 4. How does it work? So we say 34 times 4. That's 4 times 4 is 16, 1 there. 4 times 3 is 12, 12 plus 1, 13. Exactly, this is what we want, right? So 0.4 there, and that's 1360. Now you don't say it's 136, it's not 1360. We have 0 here. We just took 34 and not 0 here, right? That's why if you had that 0, you would get the 0 here also. So the answer to this is 2.4. Next, 4.5 divided by 0.2. So that's now we have just one decimal places, right? So we say 45 divided by 2. And that's very simple to do. 2 times 22 is 44. That means we are left with 1. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. Confirm it here. 45 divided by 2. That's times 2. 4, that's 0. 5 comes down. 2 times 2 is 4. That's 1 remainder. Not possible. So we put 0 and a decimal there. And 2 times 5. That's the answer there. Next one, 8.82 divided by 0.6. Now, numerator has 2 decimal places. Okay, so let's try doing it only with 1 decimal place in both of them. Let's try something different. So we say times 10 and we say times 10 only. Okay, so this becomes 88.2 upon 6, right? Because we did only times 10. So decimal only shifts by 1 place. Okay, so that's 88.2 divided by 6. We do the division here, 88.2 divided by 6. So that's 1s, 6 there, 2, and that's 8 down. 6 times 4 is 24. 4 is the remainder. Now this is decimal, right? So we put decimal there and take 2 down. We don't need to put decimal here now, okay, because we have kept the decimal point there. And 6 times 7 is 42. So the answer is 14.7. So you can do it this way also. You don't have to always make it like get rid of all the decimal places. It's important that you get rid of decimal places with your devices so your calculations become easier. We will try the same thing here now. So 9.03 divided by 1.4. We will do only times 10. Okay, so it means we have 90.3 upon 14, right? Because we did times 10. So decimal shifts to the right by only 1 position. So let's do the division here. 90.3 divided by 14. 14's times table. Do you know it? If you know it, that's great. So 14 times 6 is 84. That gives us 6. and this 3 comes down, right? Then we say 14 times 4. We'll put the decimal here because we've taken this 3 down. So that's 56. Remainder is 7. We put 0 again, and 14 times 5 is 70. So the answer is 6.45. Next one, 26.1 upon 1.8. Both of them have only one decimal place. So this becomes 261 divided by 18. We can divide directly 261 by 18, but just to make my calculations easier, because 18 is a bigger number, and if you don't know the times table, I'm going to take the common divisor here, which is 3, because 2 plus 6 is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9. It's divisible by 3, and 18, of course, we know that. So 18 divided by 3 is 6, then 261. So in 2 it does not go, so we take 26. 26 divided by 3 is 8, with 2 as the remainder, so that it goes to the next one and it becomes 21. So 21 divided by 3 is 7. So now this is a much smaller number, and I have a divisor as 6, which is easy for you to divide, right? So we say 87 divided by 6 now. 6 times 1 is 6, 2 is the remainder, 7 there. 6 times 4 is 24, 3 remainder, nothing more to take down, so we put 0 and we put the decimal there. 6 times 5 is 30. So the answer is 14.5. So that's 35.1 divided by 32.5. Both the numbers have only one decimal place. So we say 351 upon 325. Let's do the division here. 351 divided by 325. So that goes only once. That's 325. And the remainder would be 26, right? Because 25 plus 25 will make 50, and this is 51. So we add one more. We put 0, and of course the decimal here. 260 does not go, and we put 0 there now. So 325 times what? Now if it was 3, 3 times 8 is 24. We know that, right? So let's try with 8. 325 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40. That's 0, 4 there. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 4 is 20. So 0 there and 2 carried. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 2 is 26. Exactly what we want. So that's 8 there and 2600. So that's 0. So the answer is 1.08. Wow. And here comes the last question. David says that since 12 divided by 3 is 4, okay, 1.2 divided by 0.3 will be 0.4. So this is what he is thinking. Is it correct? Explain your answer. When you try to get rid of, you make this 1.2 as 12, you're making 0.3 as 3. So 12 divided by 3 is going to be 4. So we know that the way this is wrong. Both of them have one decimal place. So it's not going to be 0.4. So let's help David here. 1.2 divided by 0.3. David, watch carefully. So that's going to be 12 upon 3, right? Because we do times 10 and we do times 10 here. Both of them have only one decimal place. And 12 divided by 3 is what? 4. David, you need to be careful. Well, with this we end. And we are ready for the next chapter, 3.6. We shall soon meet for 3.6 independent practice, because that's word problem. So we do not have content video. Keep practicing and keep getting better at math, and see you soon. Until then, bye-bye.